So he just needs to find a way home. Maybe the High Druid will provide. Maybe Alo will provide. Maybe there are powerful other druids, maybe elven druids as well, who...
Aelor did say that he was interested in entering into a partnership with the Elf Queen. So, I mean,
Mhm.
maybe he would be
He
willing to
might want to
help.
curry some favor there, and hey, sending me home is the least that could be done.
It is important for you to be there in order to make the request.
The Elf Queen also stated that she has plenty of time, so maybe spending a week sending me home first
Well, the High
would
Druid
not
stated that she had
I
plenty
do
of
it,
time.
would be not too much time for her to waste on letting me borrow, like I imagine, air elemental or something. Basically, he's thinking of how the hell do I this is not at all like she is not reasonable at all. Less so than his mother, perhaps, who might have made honestly similar like desires and such. But I mean, he at least need to hear what his people has to say. His connection with the Elf Queen is much stronger than that with the High Druid.
Right. Okay. Aurelia. What's going through her mind?
Too much.
Too much.
Too many options.
Okay. Aurelia wanders off into the wood. Is she so self-absorbed that she doesn't like really pay attention to her surroundings, or how does she...
She is still very much aware of where she is, so she would definitely still try to keep track of where she's going, but she needs some distance and some passive movement to think better.
It is very easy for one to lose oneself in the forest, particularly as Aurelia wanders off into it. Especially because she's more of an urbanite than she is a wilderness survivalist. With that in mind, why don't you give me a skill check of sorts for how aware Aurelia is of where she is going? Perhaps a
Alright.
get lost skill check.
Uh,
Get lost.
a get lost skill check.
Yes.
Alright.
Roll to not get lost. There we go.
Oh, it's just a dire bear
I don't
again.
really have
Huh.
a background I could argue for
I
that, but
don't think you do, no.
no.
I
But
don't.
that would
Clarity of
probably
mind background.
At
be
least in wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
Oh
wisdom.
god, I'm so lost.
Okay. Aurelia is highly absorbed in the troubles of her mind, of what the High Druid has said and what Taraptus has said, and perhaps of events before. And this forest really doesn't follow any. It's like Drakenhall in the sense that the city almost seems to change on the whim of the blue. Only it's not changing on the whim of the blue, it just defies any logical expectation of spatial awareness. Like the Court of Elves, which Aranas could tell you about if he were here. As such, wandering into the wood has left Aurelia uh, passing by trees and landmarks that she's never seen, and oh, there it goes, she won't ever see it again. The entire forest is very dimly lit, except through whatever light comes through the canopy, and bugs that have some luminescence to them. As she considers what's on her mind and tries to unwind, or whatever it is that Aurelia does. Aurelia does end up, however, in a smaller clearing of sorts, and a gentle gust of air does rush past, and it almost sounds like wind chimes, as if she were by some house or by some building, and air is raking across ever so softly. It's a sweet air, a sweet sound, so melodic, that does not belong here in the woods.
Well, how would she know what belongs in these woods?
Wind chimes probably aren't here, at least none that she's seen thus far. Looking around then, she is in a veil of trees. There is a Perhaps it is later on in the night than she thought. There is a mist, silvery in nature, that is hugging the ground, the landscape. And looking up at the sky, perhaps some sort of special phenomena, a natural, or, maybe caused by this congregation of druids. The sky has almost a purplish tint to it.
Well, Aurelia stops as soon as she not only recognizes the facts, but also connects them, and tensing up a bit and just waits. There isn't really much point of trying to backtrack as she's hopelessly lost, so might as well wait and see what happens here.
The rush of air happens again, and it rather not repeats, but says pointedly, "You are not alone, Aurelia."
I do believe that I wish in this very moment that I would be.
It repeats itself. "You are not alone, Aurelia." And from the mist of this veil, a humanoid form begins to coalesce. A single youth, startling beauty, indeterminate gender, likely male. His skin glistens, his face is shining, and his eyes smile into yours.
Aurelia doesn't quite smile, more of the opposite, really, a deep frown. She is rather tense, as if, like, wanting to, move very quickly. But she looks at the figure with a sort of defiant expression and just says, "What exactly is the meaning of this? Of everything?"
For so long you have been misled. It is understandable that you would doubt the meaning. For so long you have been cheated, without breath, rather with breath, yet without life.
You keep repeating those things, but they mean very little.
As they would to someone who is encouraged not to think, but to do. A slender silken hand rises from the fog.
Aurelia takes a step back.
You were wounded by many things, yet there are still open scars that remain within your breast. I, as you, am hunted, and too desire closure, peace. You are very difficult to locate.
What do you want from me?
I want, as you do, closure for those wounds.
You say words without meaning.
There is always meaning in what I say. You are trained to find that.
Perhaps you could get to the point.
We can help each other, Aurelia, formerly of the Black Fang.
And what are you formerly of? Or perhaps still?
You may know me. I am Celebrius. For a time, I was the Dragon Sent, the Blue's official ambassador to Horizon, and I am very much her son.
And how exactly does that help me understand what you're saying, or perhaps help me trust you in any way, shape, or form?
You should not trust me. You would be well to do so, but you do not need me telling you. As for my meaning behind my words, I said we could help each other, and I meant it.
Who is it that is hunting you? You said you were being hunted.
Yes, there are... The androgynous figure runs his tongue along his teeth. There are elements, formerly of your organization, that wish to see me dead. For no harm of mine, though interpreted as such, the pressures of the world are causing intense fractures and divides. Not that the most powerful stood strong together before, but now it is weakened greatly. The unnatural cold unnerves all. Specifically, there is one individual in particular in which you have some familiarity. Exilia.
I do have some interest in her.
Exilia seeks me. I, in turn, seek someone who could and would kill Exilia. That search has led me to you, Aurelia.
You did not need to find me. I would have killed her without your requests.
Are you sure for that, Aurelia? For it seems that you are troubled by many other things, and do tarry so with your companions.
It is just a matter of time. There are problems, other problems that need to be considered.
A matter of time. Other problems that need to be considered. Where is your passion? Your zest?
Let us assume that I would, even for a moment, consider accepting whatever aid you are undoubtedly going to offer next in an attempt to make me rely upon you, or whatever your plan here is. What exactly are you saying? What exactly are you suggesting?
That, as nature lends its course, the androgynous figure smiles ruefully and looks around at the trees as if making a delightful pun. That I am hunted, and Exilia is the hunter. That I, who am so hunted, would lead the hunter straight to you, so you would not have to worry about hunting the gloom that has ever so eluded you all of these years, escaped your clutches in Newport. I hear you traveled right alongside her, in fact. None the wiser. But the gloom will not pretend to be anyone else but herself when tracking me.
If you wish to be bait, then I could accept that.
Good. And perhaps then offer you a token, a favor in return. Your traveling companion, once, Dwohiram, had his suspicions about a druid. They are most assuredly correct. In every sense of the word.
If you say so.
The slender silken hand stretches, though the figure does not move.
I will avoid the hand, essentially, if it comes too close.
Just outstretched, as if a gesture of, like, warmth and goodwill. Of course, if I say so. But my understanding is that you have the device to prove it for yourself. Surely, in the hope of whatever it is that you have with your other concerns, you will not let the corruption of the black spread. Think upon my words, Aurelia, for you now have the gift of thought. I hope you use that well. We will meet again.
Alright, I gives no response to that, essentially.
The hand pulls back, and the fog tumbles. The veil quickly clears, and whatever phenomenon was happening in the sky fades away, revealing it for what it is, the night sky.
Well, Aurelia will at least take that for a good side, and I guess try to find her way back, thinking really hard of wanting to get back and moving somewhere
Okay.
or something.
So, if there's any conversationing that the rest of you folks want to do back at the camp before it really gets back, you got about 90 minutes.
Alright.
Get this.
I roll minutes. Go.
Aranas will not have returned to the others in that time.
Then nothing of import, I would say. At least from Geráck.
He doesn't actually want to talk to them about this.
Yeah, I figured.
Tempus will pick up another game to play after stowing away his non-Euclidean dice now, after doing some parchment work on them, and see if Jasmine has any games that she would like to play first before he decides.
Sure. She has some old card games she's used to, various variations. She carries around her even her own set of cards once she knows you're not going to suddenly have a non-Euclidean set of anything of it. She has some old games from the military. She used to play. She tried to enjoy herself with her squad as much as she could. Certainly play away for some time, though maybe had about 9 minutes, maybe about an hour before she's going to go off and just go meditate to herself slightly afterwards.
Tempest, in the meantime, will actually, after he finds maybe a good challenge in this, will actually throw in the odd kind of as subtle as possible cheats into the game to try and confuse Jasmine. He's not doing anything malicious, like he's not trying to cheat to win. He's just trying to do it to confuse you or throw you off.
I cheat out of the
he'd
kindness of
bluff
my
and-
heart.
More to make the game a little bit more fun for him. Like he's doing it out of just fun. He's not betting any form of real currency. That's hence why he pulled the leaves and twigs. He's just doing it more to humor himself.
Sure. Jasmine will notice some of it, and will certainly, though, give you the confused reaction you're looking for. As I'm looking at her sheet, and her intelligence score is not that high.
Poor Jazz.
Sometimes being wrong, sometimes just looking at it like, wait, how did that...
Okay.
What?
Well, then, Aurelia is actually the first person then to return from the people who are absent from the camp. Aurelia finally finds her way back.
Aurelia will approach the people playing and sitting here, look for a stump to sit on herself, mumbling something along the lines of "You meet the strangest things in the forest."
Tempest dealing the cards. It's his turn. Do you want dealt in?
No, thanks. I know there's no point playing with you.
You've been gone for a long time.
A rather long time. Get lost?
Yes.
Anything happen?
Yes.
What?
She's
Now
not
the
going
golden-
to tell us.
Now the
She's
golden
not
question.
voting.
Will you say anything?
I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided yet if I'm going insane or if I have just met a son of the blue.
Jasmine's expression drops.
You seem to meet the most fun people in Little Forest Walks. Next time you go on one, I'm coming with you. Because, the last time you were nearby, we had a fountain talk to us. And then you go off on your own and you meet a son of a blue. I'm coming with you next time.
So,
How and why would there be a son of the blue here? She gestures a hand round to the forest. Her tone changed to a rather serious one.
How, I do not know. Why it appears that he wants me to kill Aurelia.
The same Aurelia as...
Yes.
What? Why?
Because apparently she hunts him. He has promised to pose as bait so that Aurelia will come to me.
It all sounds a bit convenient, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
Did he require anything of you?
Not yet.
Well, we should be cautious. This does smell a lot like a trap.
Yes, it does. After all, there are a number of us who are. Not necessarily in their good books.
None of us are, really.
He has also suggested that what Rohirrim believed Ajax to be is in fact true.
Raises an eyebrow, not knowing.
Really now? Well, there's only one way we could confirm that, and that would not be so pleasant if it turned out to be a lie.
Can someone clarify for the one who never, well, only spent a short time with...
Our old companion before he was eaten by an intellect devourer believed Ajax to be a creature of chaos.
things?
That sounds about right for Dohiram. He also wanted to wage war willingly and sacrifice lives to kill Ajax, so he had a bit of a pet peeve.
Sounds. Nothing can be easy, can it?
It was also suggested that Ajax's condition might be caused by the black.
By the black, you say?
Is the Black well known for working with chaos beasts?
Not that I am aware of.
I don't think we should take the risk unless we are pretty damn sure.
I believe that no matter what we decide here, should we meet Ajax next and the opportunity presents itself, I might do something stupid.
You really shouldn't.
You understand the retribution you might receive.
You would die.
Aranas
So
will,
would all of we, some of us.
Aranas will enter the clearing at this point.
There is a hot debate
We'll
going
sit
on.
down.
Geráck is looking very seriously at Aurelia.
Equally a Jasmine.
You could simply refuse any association with me. It would be that
No,
simple.
I couldn't. We entered here together, we have been in the same camp, we have walked together all through this. They would kill all of us.
But if I am correct, then Ajax is an agent of the Black, as well as a chaos beast, as well as associated with Aelor.
Yes, and if you're being lied to merely get yourselves killed, then yeah.
He could have
there
just... I believe that he was powerful enough to just kill me right there, had he wanted to. I was lost in the forest, nobody would have been able to intervene.
How do you know it was actually him, not just an image?
It could have been. There's no way to tell. For me, anyways.
I mean, both the black and the blue is known for using trickery. I simply don't believe we can trust this person. If he doesn't require anything of us, however, then might lead us to Aurelia. So, Aranas, have you considered? Aranas?
Look up. Just, yeah, of course I have.
And what conclusion have you come to?
I have returned to my original thought. This is a bad deal, so to speak.
So you would want to side with Adol then?
He frowns and says, that's yet to remain. I will need to speak to my people. It is their interest that I serve primarily. And do not forget their strength. The High Druid wants the orb. But I believe that what she does with it could be done by others as well.
If they are willing.
The question is not if it could be done, but if it would be done. The
That is
strength
what
of
we need
your
to
people.
find out.
The strength of your people is not in question. The willingness to act, however, is.
He nods and says, that is why we must go and speak to them.
And if they simply don't allow us to leave when we do so? What then?
We took that risk coming here, and I see no reason why we would be kept.
Because if we do not accept their offer and they do not wish to aid us, they might think that we intend to aid a druid instead, and then they won't let you specifically leave.
It says, they would not keep me against my will. You presume much, Geráck of the Mercurial Court. I assume that you have never visited.
I have not.
As long as you know how to leave, you can always leave. And I do know how. It is a strange place, and I understand if some of you would rather stay. However, I think all of your perspectives might not only get us the attention we might need, but also show unique insights into the ongoing struggles, just as you have today. The High Druid does not plan to act, and she does not believe Aelor to be a threat to her power. Well, that gives us all the time in the world to act, to look at other venues, perhaps find one that is less costly to us and to the Empire, if the Elven realm was to be awakened and was to aid in destruction of the Lich King, was to form an alliance with the Empire, then the High Druid would simply not be able to win such a fight.
Well,
She could win against the Empire because the Empire, mostly at the moment, stands alone.
well,
There are
we do not
alternatives
have
to
time.
this deal.
The druids do, and that is the problem.
So we will have to make time.
We can't, because it's not up to us. It's up to the Lich King and the Free.
You short-lived races see things differently than we do. Understand.
Do you think just because you
Have a
live longer that
perspective.
the Witch King will wait? He will act when the time is right and not after. Sometimes sacrifices must be made, and sometimes one must act, and not just sit and wait and see what happens.
And so we must act.
Yes, we must,
Good.
before it's too late.
I had thought to ask Aelor to provide us with transportation to the
Aelor.
Queen's Wood. He seemed much willing to do so when I spoke to him, at least for me, but I believe I could ask for all of you to be taken with us. As for our protection of Teraptus, I thought I would request Aurelia to stay here, speak to this Ajax, and protect Teraptus in our stead. She has proven herself much capable in the act of defending, and I believe she would give us that favor.
And how long will it take for the elves to come to an agreement on what to do?
If we can bring them the Orb of Storms, it will not take long at all.
I mean, come to an agreement if they're actually going to help us with the Orb of Storms. To calm
Not
the
long at
elves.
all. Just with a slight smile.
And would your opinion of both Aelor and Ajax, as well as your opinion about what to do, or rather how to do it next, change if I had proof that Ajax is in fact not what he seems, but rather a beast of chaos?
It says he has yet to act in a dishonorable way towards me. He could have lied, and I did sense some uncertainty in him when I discussed with him the possibility of Aelor having worked with an intellect devourer. If there indeed is something, I believe that Aurelia would be the person who could best handle it. She has a strong mind, and her tenets might be true even for something such as that. Having Ajax, if so, be able to come out himself and tell the druids what occurred might be just what they need in order to act in the right way. I would trust her with the task. She has more experience in this matter than any of us.
If the druids actually decided to attack Teraptus, there's not much we could do, and neither could she.
Indeed. It is mostly to protect him from splinters or from individuals.
Yes.
And she has certainly been able to do so in the past. Beyond that, the High Druid herself stated that she would attempt to see him safe, if just to keep Pertinax off of her neck for now. Neither her nor Aelor wishes a conflict with the Empire, simply to not act for now.
So you would delay the plan to oppose the Lich King for an indeterminate amount of time, simply to get a better deal.
Yes. You understand? He looks to Jasmine, that I must serve my people. I have obligations. He looks
You
also to
could.
Aurelia, and you, I thought, would understand that I also have no wish to spend my life as a plaything for something powerful just because the power desires for me to be there. I find such an existence existence to be somewhat abhorrent. To see and simply stay here while the world continues without me being able to influence it or do any good in any way.
The world will actually continue instead of going into chaos.
And you did just say that you know how to leave this place at any time. Besides, you, as one of the members of a long-lived race, I'm sure would have enough time to eventually get out of that particular arrangement.
Frowns, I'm not one who often breaks my promises.
Compromises can be made.
Says, however, I must speak to my people.
Do you believe it is possible for such an alliance to happen? You mentioned this.
Says, I spoke of this when we decided to go here first. My mother, the Queen, desires the Orb of Storms greatly. Were we to deliver it, there would be... A favor is too small a word to describe it, especially now that it is proven that the High Druid desires it as well.
Perhaps
She is fickle, but her favor, when gained, is incredible. And he says that sort of with a bit of a shiver.
Jasmine runs her hand down her hair slightly, it partially touching the crown. We'll just
The
relax.
Empire could stand strong. I do not see this situation with the Druids to be stable, but perhaps they right now have too much of an advantage for any possible deal to be made.
Perhaps so. And most certainly, it would be easier to convince many to go into an alliance over a downhill corporation.
Yes.
Perhaps you do have a point, Aranas. It doesn't feel right to force you to go into an arrangement that you do not agree with if, as a quick glance towards Geráck from Aurelia, if I wasn't willing to do the same, and I am certain that I would not be willing to do a similar thing, for example, if the Blue had a way to stop the Lich King.
Aranas looks to Tempus and says, I know little of you, but what I have heard is that you were once a slave, and I imagine that you would not wish to return to such a relationship with the Dwarven King. Perhaps you can then understand my predicament.
Tempus's
Perhaps-
eyebrow perks up.
Perhaps, however, you are exaggerating. It is family, after all, not slavery.
Instructions says family, perhaps, but that is not much here, I fear.
Tempus sort of just
It seems
gives an
that
incredulous look.
It seems that the love of my mother is enough that the High Druid would derive great amounts of joy from taking me away from her.
Regardless of what we do, perhaps we should simply acquire the Orb of Storms first and then continue considering what to do next. Either
No,
way, we are going to need it.
We cannot bring it to the Elven realm to hear what they have to offer. If we already have it, then we will not leave with it. It is so desired, an object.
I do still think that delaying our action for any longer than absolutely necessary is foolish.
Looks to Geráck. I'm most surprised that you would sacrifice me so quickly.
I would
had
do the same
thought-
for myself, if that
I
was
had
the option.
thought we were closer than that. More of a unit.
I would not force you to sacrifice yourself, but in your position, I would have done just that.
I'm not so sure you would.
Oh no.
From what I have heard, your faith has faltered.
I have sacrificed much for our quest. I found my sister in a dungeon, tortured, mutilated, and my brother is still missing. My father is currently under the control of a sorceress,
Then perhaps
and
you would-
against his will has ruined my house. And instead of searching for my brother and returning to my homeland, I have dedicated myself to this quest.
perhaps then you would understand the trouble in abandoning one's family to whatever fate they might have.
I certainly understand it. But sometimes we must make great sacrifices for the greater good, so that the world may continue existing.
Perhaps instead of questioning each other's morals and faith or lack thereof, you could suggest a way for us to actually contact your people without the aid of Ayla.
We could speak once more to the High Druid and request that these servants of hers bring us to the Woodland Realm.
I doubt she would agree, but we could ask.
What's bearing that? I'm sure in this gathering of druids that there are many who might have some respect for the symbol of my people. So, such persons might be powerful enough to have friends that might be able to take us as well. Perhaps I could even ask some of these beings myself, although I am no druid. Perhaps I could borrow or ask for the favor of them taking us there.
We cannot make this deal without you, Aranas. It is up to you.
Just then I suppose we should find whoever would be most likely to bring us to the Queen's Wood.
Perhaps we could talk to Ajax as well. I have some question I need answered.
Just do not,
Geráck looks worried.
do not press this. He has proven to be kind.
He has also proven to be malevolent in the past. He did attack us once.
Are people not allowed to change? To
People rarely do.
Geráck and to Aurelia.
In this particular rare case, there's an obvious physical way to check if he has changed or not.
Francis, I do not know of such a way.
Our former companion believed him to be a creature of chaos, and she kind of rolls her eyes. And the son of the blue I earlier today met in the forest confirmed as such.
This